Welcome, marketing chefs. I've got something truly special cooking in the Omni-Channel oven today. You asked the questions about big data, customer experience, customer support, privacy, CRM, lead generation, and I'll answer your questions here today in the Marketing Kitchen TV Q&A live. Up next in the Marketing Kitchen. Welcome to the kitchen, the Marketing Kitchen. Hi, I'm Ron Vining, your host of Marketing Kitchen TV. Welcome to the very first episode of Marketing Kitchen TV Q&A Live. Everything you wanted to know about CRM, big data, privacy, customer experience, consumer engagement, artificial intelligence. Those are the key questions that I'll be answering today on this Marketing Kitchen TV Q&A Live. This is where I will be taking your Q&A questions about all things related to the ABCDM hits. What does that stand for? I will be answering your questions about advertising, branding, communications, digital, and marketing. And what do the hits stand for? Hyperconnected, IoT, technology, and sales. I have a backlog of questions that have been coming to my Twitter feed. So rather than take the time to do the standalone Q&A like I've been doing, I thought that I would change it up a bit and I would just go through the Twitter feed and answer as many questions as I can. And if the video gets too long, I'll cut it up into 2 or 3 different videos. But I've got a backlog of questions here and I want to make sure I promised everybody that I'd answer them. So I'm going to do that. As a reminder, please make sure to ask your questions at the @MarketingKitchenTV Twitter feed with the hashtag Q&A, and I'll answer your questions here. All right, let's take a look at the first question we have. Which enhanced technology way has changed the nature of the business? Is it enabling real-time analytics or 24/7, 365 business connectivity? I'm not really exactly sure, the wording is a bit off there. But the answer is both. With enhanced technology, so like hyper-connected engagement, we do have real-time analytics. We're able to assess, let's say, a customer coming to a website or even walking into a physical retail store, be able to assess the persona, be able to look at characteristics, know what payment they have, what their history is of products that they buy, and be able to push related content to them. In terms of Amazon, for example, they're doing real-time assessment on the spot. And so they're utilizing not only your personal history, especially if you're a Prime member, but they're also using all customers that fit a similar persona or profile to you. So is it enabling real-time analytics or business connectivity? The answer is it's doing both. That's a good question. All right, next question. In relation to protection of data, how can we be sure that employers are accurately disposing of the data we provide when we apply for jobs? The answer is we can't. So Europe has been the most proactive in terms of trying to protect consumer data and having privacy online. In terms of the US, not so much. In terms of other countries, well, certainly not. China, for example, is using your data against you with their social credit score. They say that it's actually a good thing because it's a way to police society. They say that, I mean, the notion of the more cameras we have in public, the better behaved people will be. So that's their mindset. In terms of US, just look at what happened with the major hack of the former Amazon employee with Capital One and a number of other companies. Some been named and some haven't been named. The answer is your specific question was related to application of jobs. I would say that data is no more protected than any other data that you put out onto the internet. So remember, remember this, that even if you have your phone turned on airplane mode, and you take your SIM card out, your phone is still tracking everything that you do with the apps that you have on there are doing. And as soon as you connect back to Wi-Fi or put that SIM card in, it's going to send a report to whoever it might be. And in terms of having cameras in your home, having a smart doorbell with the camera, or having some type of a HomePod or Alexa or Google Home device, it's all listening in, and it's listening in all time of the night or day and reporting back data. So if that's happening, just think about anything that you're submitting online, whether that's an online application, that's credit card use, that's messaging, that's chat, those sexy pictures that you might be sending to someone. None of that is ever going away. And I would say that you need to be as cautious as possible. I guess the best thing that I can say related to this, Hannah, would be if the director of the FBI says that they put tape on front of their camera, they plug in a microphone jack and then cut the cord so that the phone is unable to listen or see. If that's the case, or even the laptop or whatever it might be, then that's the extreme that one of us needs to take, or all of us needs to take, if we want some form of online privacy. So anyway, good question. Next one. Metrics are critical in developing an effective advertising campaign, but as the public and government agencies crack down on data privacy sharing of consumers, what will become the most effective strategy for obtaining useful and detailed metrics? All right, as I just mentioned answering the last question, I don't think that there's going to be a drought of data. So if we think about, remember the company that I founded called Brand Influx, I talked about the fact that organizations need an influx of new content and new ideas, and that's what Brand Influx provides for my clients. Anyway, there was a commercial. The same thing is true with data. So there's going to be no lack of an influx of data coming, no matter how stringent government or corporations are self-policing themselves, or even, as I mentioned, you taking out your SIM card or turning off your Wi-Fi. Your information in some form or fashion, if you do anything online, is going to get out there, and companies are going to be able to see that. If I'm a company that relies on data, I'm not concerned about there being less data, even if there's strict government regulation. It's still going to be there. And the key for a company, then, I guess to answer your question specifically, Jason, if I'm looking at it at advising a company, I would tell a company that you need to have a tea break. I would advise a company that they should build a compelling app or have some form of a loyalty engagement system, some type of a VIP platform, which is direct between you and your customer. So whether this is B2B or B2C, if you create such a platform, your consumers are voluntarily going to be sharing their data with you, and you'll be able to use that data to retarget back to them. And no government regulation will stop that, because the mere fact of you having that one-on-one engagement will negate any law around it. Anyway, that would be my sense. So I don't see that being an issue. Tim asks here, preventing consumer breaches is so important. A lot of this information is shared during customer service interactions. How can customer service reps make users feel safe when giving data online or over the phone? That's an interesting question. As I mentioned, what's great about these questions are all sort of building on each other, right? I think the best thing that you can do is you deal with questions. Well, Tim Cook, I guess, said this best. He said, as I'm holding an Apple product, Apple is making its money on hardware. They're not making its money on free services. So Facebook, for example, or Android, or Google Search, they're making their money by giving you a free service, and in return for that free service, you're giving them unlimited data. So it's about being a smart customer before we even get to that customer service play. and it's about doing business with companies that are making a commitment to not use your data nefariously. So remember, something that's free isn't exactly free. And so that would be my point. When anything, downloading an app that's giving out, so in other words, if you were to download a photo edit or a video editing app, if you look at the terms of, and it's free, and you look at the terms of service of that, they say that they're going to be utilizing the data that they gather while you're using their app for their own marketing purposes. And most of the times that marketing purposes is them selling the data to someone else. As opposed to if you buy an app, the terms of service may, I'm not saying they will be different, because that company's not, they're making money off of the app. They don't need to make money off of the data. So it's very important about that. But specifically, how can a company make you feel more comfortable about that? Well, I suppose you could ask them what their data privacy policy is. You could ask them, actually, I love all the time that you, I love when this call may be monitored for blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, yeah, okay, well, what are you going to do with that? Is it just for training purposes, or are you utilizing it for anything else? So you're going to have to be, you as the consumer are going to be the one to have to ask. If I'm a company, maybe I'm going to disclose up front in the online portal or right on that call, we are not, ma'am, sir, we're going to do the following, Interesting question, Tim. Alexander, next up here. Social media rely on user data while violating privacy. The deal in data communications using our data utilize marketing intelligence, using that data and build their business models on the back of all of our data. Is data the bread and butter of social media? And wow, that's great, Alexander. I didn't look at these questions in advance, so in advance of me ordering them. So you just summed up what I just said in answering the prior question. Yes, data is the bread and butter of social media. That's how Facebook, that's how Twitter, that's how LinkedIn, that's how Instagram, that's how WhatsApp, that's how Gmail, that's how Google Search, that's how Pinterest, that's how they're making their money. They're making money off of you. Amazon is making money off of you in a double play, right? The double play for Amazon is the fact that you're buying the product, but then they're also monitoring your behavior. So they're being able to monetize your buying preferences. So you're correct. And unfortunately, that is the case. So what will change this? Government is going to have to step in and pass restrictive laws. But as I said it, answering a prior question, there's still going to be data out there. Every time you take an Uber, or you take, here in Singapore, we're using Grab, or another company, Gojek, and or in the US there's also Lyft, right? In China there's Didi. Well, in China everything's being captured. And so some governments are going to be the ones collecting the data as opposed to protecting you from corporations taking your data. And so remember, they're actually not stealing our data. We're giving it to them voluntarily in probably 90% of the cases. So, and it's all because of convenience. If you really wanted to right now, you could delete 90% of the apps, right, that are on your device. Those apps are the things stealing the data. You could restrict by which browser you choose. You have Bing, you have Safari, you have Firefox, and you have Chrome, say Yahoo as well too. And all of those they're data mining, and all of those cookies that are being collected. So between your apps and between those browsers, data is being collected. Now, you could get rid of the apps, as I mentioned, and you could also be more careful about which browser you're using. You could make sure that you clean your cookies out all of the time. You could stop having saved passwords on there. You could make sure that you don't have any phishing software on your device. Another thing that you can do is there are also lesser known browsers that claim to be data collection free. I've not investigated them. Of course, you can also get a VPN but then the VPN provider is able to collect a certain level of data. Your telco is collecting huge sums of data on you. You're correct in the fact that data is the bread and butter of social media. And it's buyer beware. Consumer needs to protect themselves because neither government nor corporations are going to. That's just the bottom line. And it's really about convenience. We've become accustomed to the convenience of these things, and we've become slaves to them, I guess. Alex, brand trust is so crucial to an organization. Which area should be focused on the most to improve that area with consumers purchasing decisions? Is it identifying brand trust goals, authenticity, or customer experience? All right, that's a great question, Alex. Again, I started Brand Influx because I believe in brand experience marketing. So maybe that answers your question there. So you asked me which should a company, or which is the most crucial for an organization to focus on? Should it be on customer experience, or should it be on authenticity and brand identity? Does it have to be a choice? Because to me, trust should be part of the experience. Going back to, I guess, what I said about the fact of consumers not being willing to cut the cord and restrict the data that's going because they like the convenience of it, I would say that what's more crucial to an organization is the overall experience that a customer receives. But we're never going to get to that point, though, unless there's some level of trust. So most of the brands that I do repeat business with is based on the trust that they've established with me as a customer. And it's only once that trust has been violated that that becomes a negative experience that I walk away from that brand. For example, and I feel badly for them, but the TJX Corporation, so they own TJ Maxx and they own Marshalls, and they have a couple of other brands. I love Marshalls and I love Maxx, and I had a TJX credit card for years, and I enjoy their rewards program is fantastic. However, they had the massive data breach. I canceled my card, and I've never gotten a new one. And it's so, they broke my trust, so I won't have a credit card with them. But of course, I still shop at their stores. I still use other brands' credit cards, which that data is being collected, so there could be a breach. It's really, I think customer experience and authenticity and trust really go hand in hand with each other. So Alex, I would say that a brand should seek to have both. Sorry, I can't really tilt the needle one way or another because they really do go hand in hand with each other. But when it comes to a customer engagement or customer experience, I think that when you can create memories for a customer that are unique and unlike any other experience they've had with any other brand, then they will come back to you time and time again, provided you are authentic and that you never violate that trust. All right, hope that answers that question. Kat asked one, with so many online channels to consider, how much energy should a business invest in its in-person customer service experience? Is the future fully online? I would invest a lot in a customer service experience, whether it's B2B or whether it's B2C. It's about, I think that MasterCard had those great commercials where they talked about what it cost this, and then how this experience was priceless. That was a fantastic ad campaign because it's so true. Experiences sometimes are priceless, and they cannot be, you couldn't put a dollar amount on them. For example, a priceless experience would be being able to go to that. All right, so I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So to me, a priceless experience would be to go into a Disney theme park 2 hours before it's open to the general public, all attractions running, and be able to go on them all, including Ride of the Resistance, the Smuggler's Run at the New Galaxy's Edge, without having to wait in a single line. And I want to be able to walk through the extensive queues to experience everything that the Disney Imagineers have put together. So a priceless experience to me that money couldn't pay for would be to have that. And they don't offer a service like that. That would be super expensive. I'm certain celebrities get that experience. I'm rambling, but I think you get my point, Kat. I think that if you can create a truly unique, almost one-to-one experience, because sometimes it's difficult for that to happen, but if you can do that, then your customer will come back to you all the time. In terms of going back to Disney, they've attempted to do that in the sense of being able to have like extra magic hours. That's where if you stay at a Disney hotel, you get in the park early, or you can stay later at night. But you're also doing that with 10,000 other people. But I suppose 10,000 other people is better than 40,000 other people, right? Well, in this case, guests, as Disney calls them. Answering the last part of your question, is the future fully online? No, I don't believe so. As much as I'm a futurist and as much as I see the pain that retail is going through in particular, we still enjoy social interaction. I still, even though I can, in Singapore in particular, we're a bit more, the whole digital, China is almost 100% digital now. Singapore is pretty close. US is still lagging behind. Europe is lagging behind. When we talk about a fully online experience, I can turn to my phone and I can order anything. So almost any time, day or night, I can turn to my phone, I can order anything, and then it's delivered to me. But it's still delivered to me by a person. I still have to get up, I have to answer. So I live in a condo, so security calls, tells me that if the delivery person, whatever it might be, I then still have to get up and I have to answer my door. And I suppose all of that could be better automated, right? But there's still the physical aspect to that. But do I want to be a hermit and experience that all day, every day? No, I don't. So for example, a new mall opened around the corner from me and a new Reserve Starbucks opened. So while I could have ordered that new Reserve Starbucks coffee and had it delivered to my home, it was much nicer for me to go to the new shopping mall, go to the new Starbucks, experience sitting at the Reserve counter and experiencing the new Reserve drink. And so no, the future is not fully online. I think we will still have more engagement. Think about the engagement that we're having with vinyl today. So many people want to, we've become so digital that we want to experience old physical things again. And remember, when we talk about the IoT, which is Internet of Things, and we talk about things being fully digital, we still live in a real physical world. And as long as we are still living in that real physical world, things will be physical. Yeah, I don't see it happening until, of course, some dystopic future like The Matrix, which is really cool, right? That there's going to be a fourth Matrix film. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens, what adventure unfolds with Neo again. I hope it's well done. Next, dun, dun, dun. AI and machine. So ML stands for machine learning. So artificial intelligence and machine learning powered chatbots provide 24/7 multilingual global services to expedite tasks, reduce wait, improve efficiency, cut cost. Is it worth investing in this for unique customer issues, or should companies use mix and match approach? I would most certainly, if I have a website, specifically if I have a B2B website, I want to make sure that those high-paying customers are able to access someone 24/7, 365. You could certainly have a call center open in that time, but during peak periods or holiday periods or wherever that might be, even if your call center is located outside the US, let's say it's Christmas Eve, or it's Thanksgiving Day, or it's Chinese New Year, or whatever the holiday might be, there would then be a backlog with your call center, because you'll have a reduced staff most likely, or there'll be times that you're cutting down on budget. So you will want to most definitely have something like that. I think the mix and match approach is best in the sense that have the customer interact with the chatbot first. What I really like is stepping back a bit, I like when you go onto a website, it allows you to browse a bit. And then the website, utilizing an algorithm, will be able to, and it also could be based on if you've signed in, or based on your cookies to understand who you are when you're coming into that site. But anyway, it allows you to browse a little bit. When it appears based on your clicks or your movements or your delay or your stalling, that a chatbot come up. This is for B2B or B2C. And the chatbot asks you, do you have a question? What's even better is if it has been tracking what you're doing and then asks you a question specific to what you're doing. But the most generic question is, do you need help with whatever? And of course, if you're signed in, it's fantastic. In my case, if it says, Ron, do you need help with? That would be great. If it sees that I was trying to find, let's say, a driver. So let's say I happen to be on HP's website and I'm looking for a driver for a specific printer or something, and I'm going back and forth and clicking. If a chatbot were to come up and say to me, hi Ron, are you having a difficult time trying to find a driver? Would you like to speak with? Wow, I mean, that would be great. So yeah, great, fantastic question. I agree that utilizing an AI and ML powered chatbot is the way to go to have 24/7, 365 engagement backed up with real-time call center support, or sometimes real-time chat support as well too, with a real live person. That would be my preference anyway. So fantastic. Next up, good customer service has become crucial to a company's success, but can be difficult to achieve. What are some of the biggest challenges in providing good customer service? Good customer service has become crucial to a company's success, but difficult to achieve. Is good customer service crucial to a company's success? Yes. Is it difficult to achieve? No, I don't believe so. Obviously, the biggest challenges are putting money into it. The biggest challenges are creating an ecosystem that enables customer service. Another thing is to have marketing and sales be in charge of your customer service division, as opposed to having finance or operations. And I'll tell you why. And finance and operations people, you typically don't like CMOs like me. And the reason why is we spend money on things that you like to cut back on. Good customer service is critical to retaining customers. Good customer service might not be essential to winning customers, because that's what good marketing is for. But good customer service and support is what gets them to come back. I think that is critical. So the biggest challenge is creating an ecosystem for that. So that would be utilizing a hybrid approach. So in terms of having customer service, one of the first things you want to do is have a good policy of customer service. And so sorry if I repeat myself or my thoughts are jumbled. I read the questions first time and then I'm answering them without the luxury of mapping it all out. So this is sort of like playing Stump the Consultant. I guess so the biggest challenge is coming up with a policy that is both good for your company and good for the customer. And in many cases, it's a good return or exchange policy. These companies out there that don't offer returns, don't offer exchanges, and have these horrible warranties. Going back to HP again, I don't know why, anyway, it just stuck in my head, but it goes back to, we're talking 20 years now, back when I would always buy printers and scanners. It was without a doubt that within 7 days after the 1-year warranty, my HP all-in-one printer, scanner, fax, whatever you want to call it, would die. Literally, I had 3 years in a row, 7 days after the 1-year warranty, dead. Now what's fantastic, and why I wasn't a member at the time, was Costco. Costco would have would add on to that policy. And I totally appreciate that. I think about Apple. I mean, I love Apple. I'm an all things Apple guy. If Apple made a fridge, I'd have an Apple fridge right here. So I love Apple. But you know what I hate? I hate AppleCare. I hate the whole concept of, we're going to build you this device, we're going to bill it as premium, we're going to sell it as premium, but if it fails and you don't have AppleCare, you might as well throw it away because it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to fix it, if it's even fixable. A lot of Apple's products are not meant to be repaired. They're just meant to be replaced. Take the Apple Watch. I've broken 2 Apple Watches and I didn't have AppleCare for either. I was quite surprised to find out that an Apple Watch cannot be repaired. They're taken back by Apple, the components are stripped out of them, and they're junked. And instead they give you a replacement. And sometimes they don't give you a new watch, by the way. They're giving you a refurbished watch. But all right, that's a whole other story. So yeah, all right, anyway, but you're asking what are the challenges? So the challenges are having in place a good return or exchange policy, which is typically one of the biggest problems a customer has. Having a policy about having service recovery, making sure that you have a good service recovery policy. I cannot stand that when I complain about something legitimate with a brand, that they don't have a policy in place to make me as a customer feel reassured, to give me something as compensation that is just enough that I will overlook the inconvenience that's been suffered. So having a good return or exchange policy, having good customer service recovery policy, having employees that are empowered to make decisions, oftentimes involving making exceptions, which means the company spending money to make you, the customer, happy. Those are important. In terms of then also the challenges of having the customer service or support be achievable, is making sure that you take the hybrid approach of having call support, having chat support, having email support, actually having a physical address to write a letter to. I'm amazed at how many companies don't want you to do that. Or don't provide an email address. For example, if you want to complain about something to Apple, good luck trying to find a person to address, because they don't want you to do that. They want you to have AppleCare, they want you to go on the site, they want you to follow the process that they've outlined, and that's it. And to me, for a premium product, that does not work for me. And so yeah, you can go to the Apple store. And again, I love Apple, but actually 2 years ago I had a problem with the 12-inch MacBook that I bought. It's a premium piece of junk. And when Apple online admitted that the issue was a manufacturing issue, and then I brought that MacBook to the Apple store, where online had given me a service code to be able to have it fixed and for free. And I went to the Apple store, and the manager told me that she would not repair it for free, and that she was going to have to collect the device and keep it for several weeks, even though support told me that the store could have repaired it in store, same day. That to me, all right, anyhow. So sorry to get on that tangent, but as somebody who has been a consultant to HP and to Apple and to Samsung and just about every other major brand under the sun, I get quite irritated by some of these issues that come up related to brand trust and customer experience and or service. Frustrating to me. Australia, by the way, passed an interesting law that extends the 1-year warranty on Apple products. So you didn't have to buy AppleCare. So whatever the warranty period that AppleCare would be, that's the length of care that you would get just by buying the device out of the box. And I think that that's fair. If you're willing to back it up, It's almost like insurance. It really bothered me about the insurance industry. Imagine like you have a car, you have your car, and let's say you have a branded car, and so you have a Mercedes, let's say, or a BMW, or a Tesla, and you get into an accident. Well, did you know that your insurance company, even though you've been paying those premiums and your insurance company loves you when you pay the premiums, your insurance company doesn't want to replace the damaged parts by a Mercedes, a BMW, or Tesla parts, even Ford. So one of the last car I had was a Nissan. Car before that was a Ford. I remember when my spoiler was spoiled, and the insurance company didn't want to replace it with a Ford product. They wanted to replace it with an aftermarket product, and I had to fight them over that. And of course, same thing happens with even more premium brands. So anyway, it just aggravates me. You want to take my money, but you don't want to give me service back. That just doesn't work for me. The telco here in Singapore that I use is Singtel. Singtel annoys the heck out of me because their customer service is basically zero. It's horrible. They keep removing channels from my package or swapping channels in and out of my package. Do they not understand that I, as a customer, will not continue to pay this amount that keeps going up every year if you keep taking channels away from me or moving key channels that I watch out of the package that I purchased and putting them into another bundle so I've got to pay more? Why would I do that in the age of streaming? What I'm going to do, and I've told them in Twitter, and you can go to my @RonaldVining Twitter feed right here, and you can see the Twitter war that I've had with Singtel. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel their service, and heck with them. If you cannot offer me the support, then why should I be your customer? All right, sorry about that rant. All right, I hope I answered your question. Also, you just have to have good people. You have to have good people at the top as well as good people on the front line. And the people on the front line need to have a feedback mechanism to the top to be able to say, we need X, Y, and Z service. There was a company that I worked for, we set up a call center. Well, not just a call center, it was a 24/7, 365 customer support center. And it looked like the bridge of the Starship Enterprise. And we were able to track everything that was coming in from around the globe in real time. Different customer service agents were to be able to see what other customer service agents were happening. Of course, we had the length of call, the length of chat that was being displayed that everybody could see. Obviously, we want to try to reduce that time so that they could be more efficient. But we didn't reward people for that. We actually rewarded people for good customer engagement. Anyway, those are just some more things to add to that. If you or your business want to know more, then please reach out to me, and I'd be happy to either get on a call with you or sit down and have a coffee or come into your office and talk about how we could improve that service for you. All right, Matt writes, superior customer experience will retain existing clients and bring in new ones. Are resources the main deterrence from companies having exceptional service? If so, the immediate cost of hiring and technology should be outweighed by long-term success. Well, Matt, I must have been reading your brain. Again, this question is quite similar to what I just answered. And yeah, certainly resources, mainly finances, also hiring. It's hard to get good talent. And I guess that goes to resources too, because sometimes companies don't want to pay for good talent. You get what you pay for oftentimes. And the investment in technology in terms of having a USS Enterprise from Star Trek type bridge be your command center for customer experience. That of course will cost you money. So resources do get in the way, but I totally agree with you. And again, going to what I started to say in the last question, you don't want the head of ops and the head of finance. So I don't want the COO and I don't want the CFO to be making the customer service, customer support decision. I want it to come from sales, or I want it to come from marketing. I want it to come from communications. I want it to come from the silo in the organization who is most concerned with what you just said. The long-term success, repeat business, building a relationship with the customer. It's much more difficult to acquire a customer than it is to make that customer happy and retain them. And so I would spend the money, Matt. That would be my answer. Alex, not all leads are created equal. Lead qualification funnel is an essential process to achieve high productivity, allocate company resources, and increase revenue. What are the best analysis tools for lead intelligence insights? Wow, that's a great question, Alex. That's something that I actually would need to, off the top of my head, I can't tell you what the best tool is for that because they're changing all the time. There are several companies that, of course, do that. For CRM, I, of course, have utilized Salesforce. I've utilized Marketo, and I'm trying to, there's one more. Sorry, off the top of my head, it's just escaping me. If I recall it, I'll talk about it in a future video. There's no one-stop solution. And one of the things that I love, Alex, about today's market is, and I want to be careful when I say this because I actually was in a meeting one time and I had said that I was building a learning management system. And that's Learnomi, by the way. And I'm also building an automated customer experience, consumer engagement, storytelling, content curation, distribution, and that's called automated influx. So I'm building those two pieces of software or those systems or that platforms, but let's be careful about what I say by the word building. In today's marketplace, there's so many experts who have created different pieces. We call them APIs. And it's different pieces. So people who are just trying to do the very best at 1, 2, A, B, C, and D, let's say. So when I say build something, that means I'm utilizing my vision for how things should work, but I'm going to license out or procure the software solutions that someone else has created, just harness them in a unique way for one of my own platforms to deliver a particular service. So there's so many white label services out there, if you will. So in other words, you can procure them, you can license them, you can get them in escrow, which means that even if the company goes out of business or they're acquired or this or that, you still have access to that or can then modify onto that, put your own layers on there. Look at Samsung, for example, utilizing Android, or Amazon utilizing Android, or Xiaomi utilizing Android. They all put their own layer of software on top of Android, creating their own unique look, feel, and experience that's there. But Android is an API, if you will. It's, and for lack of a better word. And then that's white labeled, that can then be customized by that particular brand. Not all lead qualification funnels are the best. Not all of them are created equal. It's really about finding the one that is best for your budget and for your specific industry. One of the things that some of them have all the bells and whistles, but you don't need that. I think about content curation tools or even content scheduling tools. You take HubSpot, for example. They offer a very comprehensive program, but the reason why I'm building automated influx is because HubSpot cannot do a couple of specific things that I want done. So I'm not going to invest in their bells and whistles platform when they can't do some of the basic things that I need to do. And I would much rather get several APIs and put them together. Same thing can be true for your CRM, or what you're calling a lead qualification funnel. But again, customization I think is best, because remember, when we're talking about lead generation, and we're talking about a loyalty program, and we're talking about customer engagement, you want to personalize that experience the most possible for your brand. The best way for you to do that is for you to customize the different parts of that funnel of how you're going to engage with that customer. So there's not a one-size-fits-all approach to that. I mean, Alex, if you really are looking to build one, or if there's a company out there that's doing that, I'd be happy to work with you on a one-on-one to develop the right solution with things that are currently off the shelf that we can, but then can be fully customizable to your legacy architecture if you as well too. Good question, Alex. Next, let's see, Brendan asks, how can established companies like Rite Aid adapt to the changing needs of customers? Is it as simple as partnering with Adobe? The company has closed stores to bring in better customer profiles and big data. What does this mean for small businesses? Brendan, that's a big question, and there's a lot of parts to it there. So let's try to break that down a little bit there. I haven't read up about Rite Aid, but I do remember that Rite Aid was refusing to take Apple Pay because they didn't want to be giving Apple all of that data. They are sharing that data with Apple. They wanted it it for themselves. So Rite Aid is moving into a big data play with personalization with their own customer profiles. As far as Adobe, I'm assuming you're talking about their acquisition of Marketo, right? How do I answer this to make sure I answer your question? Is it as simple as partnering with? Yeah, I mean, so the answer is yes. Going back to what I just said when I was answering Matt's question. It's about finding the right software solution that works with your particular brand and your particular consumer and in your particular marketplace. And you certainly do need to, you said, what does this mean for small business? So whether you're a small business or whether you're a big business, you can do what I've just talked about. You find off-the-shelf software solutions that are customizable that allow you to plug and play different features of them that work for your budget, work for your customer, work for your market. So I hope that helps to answer that question, Brendan. I have another question from Kat. How does a company choose the best CRM implementation? How does a company choose the best CRM implementation differ for their business? A large, well-established company's implementation will look different than a new or small company. Yeah, great question. This goes back to what we've just been talking about. So far the trend with these questions have been around data privacy and customer service, and then also now around lead gen, customer experience, customer acquisition, right? All right, let me grab some water here. Hang on a second. Well, I think the big difference between a new or small company as opposed to a large firm in their implementation with CRM is due to legacy architecture. So if you've got a large company that has been in existence for a while, they have a lot of old systems. There's employees that are trained. So not only do you have the legacy hardware, you also have legacy software. You also have data that has been collected in various ways and formats over the years. Potentially that data is corrupted, or it is incompatible, immediately incompatible with the new architecture that you might be bringing in, the new APIs that you might want to plug and play into your existing system. So you're going to potentially have a nightmare of incompatibility or difficulty or lost in translation of data, as well as employees that are going to be feeling anxious, they're going to have anxiety, they're going to need to be retrained, there's going to have to be that whole transformational effort of getting them from here to there, right? And so that's what happens with a large or an older company. In terms of a small company, they may have some of those issues, but not likely. In many cases, they've been collecting data and they don't even realize that they have been, or they've been missing out on data opportunities. So you'll be able to very quickly give them a new clean solution to tap into either data that they have collected or data that they've been missing, and without the architecture, translation, incompatibility issues that might be there. So I think that's how it would look different. Hope that answers your question. How can big data in the form of unstructured customer info, user preferences, text, video, audio, stock data, financial transactions data, assist in developing personalized EDMs and capturing customers' responses? Personalized email, PEM, yeah? Okay, sorry for the sorry, I'm thinking. I should be thinking without and. Anyway, again, this is our first live Q&A session. Remember, if you're enjoying this and you have a question that you'd like to have answered, please tweet to us at MarketingKitchenTV, #Q&A, and I will answer your Twitter question here on YouTube. All right, how can big data in the form of unstructured customer info, user preferences, all of those that are listed here in the question, assist in developing emails and capturing customers' responses? I would first say that we're not going to have this unstructured data, because if I came in as your consultant or as your CMO or as your CCO or your head of sales, which I wouldn't take that role, but anyway, if I came in any of those capacities to turn around your marketing and your sales divisions, and sales and marketing should be best friends with each other. Sales, marketing, customer experience, technology, they should all be in a big group hug with one another. And I'd be happy to come in and hug all of them and transform all of this unstructured data that you have, because that's what I do. I'm about growth hacking. I'm about making sure that almost instantaneously your bottom line goes from here to here. And how do we do that? We do that by how we engage with our customers. And how do we engage with our customers? We do it with value-added content that's based on their preferences, on the channels that they're on, giving them real-time, anytime, any place, anywhere content, value, offers, loyalty, subscriptions, you name it, but ones that they've asked for, based again on their preferences, based on data that they've given you. So anyway, trying to sum that all up there. So anyway, how do I do that? I do that by putting a system together very quickly and analyzing it and going forward. So that's how I would do that. Salesforce market share seems to be soaring. Who, what will disrupt the CRM giant? Or will Salesforce continue to innovate and grow faster than its competitors? Well, I mean, they certainly do have first mover advantage, and they have scale, and they have technology that is, far and above what anyone else is touching. And they've been selling off things that they're not making full use of, or they're not seeing as their core aspect of it. Adobe has purchased it in the form of Marketo. Adobe could potentially be a player, but I don't think Salesforce is worried, or they wouldn't have sold their software to or their platform to Adobe. I don't see competition coming to Salesforce from a big player. I see competition coming to Adobe from a small player, maybe like my automated influx that I'm talking about, only because Salesforce will offer you, and Salesforce is scalable, they'll offer a small business, a small platform at a small price, which then grows as your business grows, and that's fantastic. But the platform that I'm developing with automated influx is small, it's lean, it's good for a small business, it's good for a political campaign, it's good for immediate, what's the word I'm looking for? It's good for, you could off the shelf take it, customizable, it will do what you need it to do, and it won't break the bank for you to achieve the results that you're looking for. Now, I've not built it yet, and again, I explained in a couple of questions ago what I mean by built, but That's the type of thing that could be a challenge to Salesforce. But we're talking about a fish nipping at your toes, not a shark in the ocean. So Matt, in terms of competition for Salesforce, I think their biggest threats, again, small competitors are just little fish nipping at your toes. The other sharks in the ocean that could potentially compete beyond, say, Adobe, would be companies like Microsoft with their ownership of LinkedIn. Microsoft has yet to fully maximize the valuable data and especially the customer engagement that's happening on LinkedIn in terms of its Sales Navigator platform. If you take Office and Access and Excel and you pair that to Sales Navigator, Microsoft could be a potent competitor to somebody like Salesforce. If you were to take someone like Google, they certainly, with their apps for enterprise, if Google could ever get itself in gear, they could be a big competitor to Salesforce with all the data they have. Amazon could be a competitor. Uber could be. Apple could be. PayPal. There are a number of companies out there that have had access to huge volumes of CRM data that could easily spin themselves off into a competitor to a firm like as a competitor to a firm like Salesforce. So I hope that answers your question, Matt. All right, we've hit the 1 hour mark, and I believe that we've covered a lot of ground here in this first Marketing Kitchen TV Live, where we've looked at, or we've talked about today, key issues surrounding CRM, engagement, customer experience, customer service, utilizing AI and machine learning for chatbots, automating the experience with CRM as well too, looking at some of the platforms that are available. We've talked about developing automation, AI, tools, if you will, to be able to gather and engage with the customer. We've talked about big data and we've talked about privacy. So I think we covered a lot in this first session. With Matt's question, I'll end here. That'll do it for this episode of Marketing Kitchen TV Q&A Live. In the next episode, we'll pick up where we left off with Jason's question. I hope you found my answers useful. I hope that we can have some engagement on this channel by you offering some comments in the section below. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please like it and please share with your friends. It will really help the channel to grow, which in turn will help me and make this a better resource for us all. Thank you for your question. If you'd like me to answer a question here on Marketing Kitchen TV, all you need to do is go to the @MarketingKitchenTV on Twitter, use the hashtag Q&A, and I will answer your questions here. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember, there's always fresh content simmering on our storytelling stovetop. So whatever happens in this kitchen shouldn't stay in this Marketing Kitchen. I'm Ron Vining, your host, reminding you to invite your family and friends to the next episode of Marketing Kitchen TV.